mean streets, none of my friends speak. We all trying to win, but then again, maybe it's for the best though. Cause when they seeing too much, you know they trying to get you touched. Whoever said illegal was the easy way out couldn't understand the mechanics and the workings of the underworld. Granted, 9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive, I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it alive. Like ills, poison my body. I used to say, fuck my skills. I never prayed to God, I prayed to God. That's right, it's wicked, that's life. I live it, ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. Ends, I break bread with the lay heads, picking their brains for angles and all the evils that the game will do. It gets dangerous, money and power is changing us, and now we're lethal, infected with the evils.
God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati on my mind, soul, and my body. God, I wonder, can you save me? Secret society, trying to keep me on. God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati on my mind, soul, and my body. God, I wonder, can you save me? I can't die,
Yeah. We used to fight for building blocks, now we fight for blocks with builders that make a killing. The closest of friends when we first started, but grew apart as the money grew, and soon grew black-hearted. Thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers, he never learned, so in turn I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. My hand around the collar, feet in the cheese. She said the taste of dollars was shitty, so I fed her 50s. About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. I kept feeding her money till shit started to make sense. Who could ever foresee? We used to stay up all night at slumber parties. Now I'm trying to rock his bitch to sleep. All the years we were real close. Now I see his fears through her tears. No, she wishing we were still close. Don't cry, it is the beat. In time, I take away your miseries and make it mine. The evils.
God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati on my mind, soul, and my body. God, I wonder, can you save me? Secret society, trying to keep me on. God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati on my mind, soul, and my body.
Atmosphere, energy from the sea, the wind, energy from the sun. We no longer need to burn or destroy anything. We simply take what already exists and put it to our use in unlimited quantities.
Supposing he isn't crazy. Worse than if that lunatic can really do what he says he can do. Have you any idea what's going to happen?
No, sir.
One source of energy, that's what's going to happen. Just one. So anybody can do it. Just stick an antenna up in his backyard and hook into it.
Rural Research Program. What does HARP do? HARP is a large antenna where we beam radio frequency energy up into the upper atmosphere, and we create on a small scale what the sun normally does.
The assignment came that the Navy and the Air Force were to manage the program.
Applications discussed in the patents included destroying missiles. Communications control and disruption were included. There were some other ideas, both to possibly modify weather and finally to lift a portion of the upper atmosphere further out into space where hopefully it would be able to deflect missile trajectories.
In 1983, I did radio tomography with 30 watts, looking for oil in the ground. I found 26 oil wells over a 9-state area, and 100% of the time was accurate, which is 30 watts of power beaming straight into solid rock. HARP uses 1 billion watts beam straight into the ionosphere for experiments. Picture these strings on the piano as layers of the earth. Each one has its own frequency. What we used to do is beam radio waves into the ground, and it would vibrate any strings that were present in the ground. We might get a sound back like, and we'd say, that's natural gas. We might get a sound back like, and we say that's crude oil. We were able to identify each frequency. We accomplished this with just 30 watts of radio power. If you do this with 1 billion watts, the vibrations are so violent that the entire piano would shake. In fact, the whole house would shake. In fact, the vibrations could be so severe underground that could even cause an earthquake.
HARP can create some of the effects that the sun creates that are similar to the aurora borealis.
HAARP can paint designs in the sky, if you will. You know, it can take the beam and move it in any pattern that the scientist who's doing an experiment might want to do.
Can also heat up subterranean water to cause earthquakes. And remember, a 1 billion watt microwave. What does microwave do to water? It heats it up. Now imagine if you put 1 billion watts into a tropical storm. You could make it much bigger, and you could change the direction it flows in. You know how there's high pressure zones and low pressure zones. Well, high is hot and low is cold, and the hot flows into the cold, and vice versa, and there's more of the cold. So they can heat up an area and cause it to flow into a next door area. In other words, these people are capable of creating the cyclone that hit Myanmar, the tsunami that hit Indonesia, and the earthquake that hit China.